Welcome to the 2019 Wayne Hills TV NFL Draft Preview Show, where my partner Isaiah and I, and later Luca and Jason, will be breaking down all things NFL Draft. Let's get right into it with the number 1 overall pick held by the Arizona Cardinals. So Isaiah, the projected number 1 overall pick at the Cardinals is Kyler Murray, quarterback from Oklahoma. Do we see the graphic for the stats for the guys who we think are going to go number 1? So if you look at the stats here, Murray, he had a great year, 4,300 yards, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, won the Heisman at Oklahoma. So what are your thoughts on Murray going number 1 to the Cardinals?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think he is the best quarterback in this draft. I love the way he's able to move in the pocket. He's not really a runner. He checks his options first, and then he'll throw the ball. If there's a wide open receiver. If it does not, he'll run the ball.
Right, and just a really quick note, Arizona's new coach, Cliff Kingsbury, actually helped recruit Kyler Murray to Texas A&M when he was a freshman in college. So that's something to look for there. They've known each other for a long time. So moving on, we have Nick Bosa out of Ohio State, the edge rusher. Only played in 3 games in the regular season, but he looks like a combine stud. He ran a under 4.8 40, benched 29 reps, 33.5-inch vertical. What are your thoughts on this guy?
Well, I mean, he's really good, even though he got injured most of the season. Mm-hmm. And he's also related to his brother in the NFL who plays for the Charger.
Mm-hmm. Joey Bosa. And a lot of comparisons there. And, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals drafted him. Yeah, he looks like a physical freak, and he could really help out Arizona. So the last guy we think who could potentially go number 1 is Josh Allen, who's also an edge rusher. He's from Kentucky. He put up a pretty tremendous season in 88 tackles, 21.5 of those coming for a loss, 17 sacks, 5 forced fumbles. Those are some pretty great stats. And then at the combine, 4.6 40. 28 bench press reps. I mean, this guy's another physical specimen.
That's true.
Coming out of the SEC, which is a pretty tough conference considering it has Alabama, LSU, all those great schools like that. So we put up a really good performance. What are your thoughts on Josh Allen?
I mean, he's incredible. I don't know if he's going to go to the Cardinals, but probably another team like the Jets or any team around there. But he's really good.
Even Oakland could scoop him up. So I think they could use him too. So let's move on to the number 3 pick held by my New York Jets. So we're going to talk a little bit about what they need. So they need in this draft a pass rusher for sure, and they also need to beef up the offensive line. So as you see, we have the draft up for the Jets. We have Josh Allen, Quinnen Williams, who are both pass rushers. Quinnen Williams we didn't talk about for number 1, but he could definitely go number 1 as well. So the first guy we're going to talk about is going to be Josh Allen again. I mean, with the Jets, this just seems like a perfect fit.
It does.
If he slipped to number 3, I would be really happy. So what are your thoughts on him going to the Jets?
I mean, the Jets really need a pass rusher. They haven't had a good pass rusher in years. And the Jets are really rebuilding right now, so they need to help that defense.
Right. And with Quinnen Williams, another guy out of Alabama who's just a big guy who can move. I mean, a lot of these defensive ends are really just quick guys who can really get to the quarterback fast. So both of those guys would really be tremendous picks. And then one more thing with the Jets is they could potentially trade down in the draft. A lot of mock drafts have them trading down.
That's true.
I mean, it's just interesting to look at what the Jets have now with the signing of Bell. They have so much flexibility in this draft. All right, so let's move on to the New York Giants, your beloved New York Giants. So they're in need of a quarterback for the future because Eli is getting up there in age. And then, you got Dwayne Haskins from Ohio State who had a tremendous year, 50 touchdowns. And then also on the defensive line, Giants need some defensive line help. You have Rashawn Gary from Michigan. You have Devin White from LSU in the secondary. So what are your thoughts on actually Rashawn Gary, who's a pretty talented defensive lineman from Michigan?
He's really good. We can really use him. The Giants definitely need a defense. I think they might go with defense with the 6th pick and maybe a quarterback with 17. So I can really see Rashawn Gary or anyone or Devin White. We need pressure on the quarterback. We were the worst in our division last year, and we need to improve.
Right, and another note is Drew Lock. So you said they could go defense with the 6th pick, and then they could go Lock from Missouri, who's a pretty talented quarterback as well, with their later pick. So Jets and Giants have a lot of flexibility in this draft. There's a lot of options. I mean, it's going to be a pretty exciting night on Thursday to see the future of these two teams being built. All right, that's all we have for now. Let's go to a short break. Luca and Jason will be coming up after us, breaking down more coverage. But for now, let's take a look at some of the interviews we did with students and faculty from Hills on their opinion.
I think Kyler Murray is going to be taking #1 overall. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, Cardinals head coach, he's had a lot of experience with Kyler Murray. He's the one that got him recruited into college, and I think they have a lot of chemistry together.
I'm a line guy. I'm a line coach. I like, in this draft, I think it's defense and offensive linemen. They got great offensive linemen. So for me, I would pick Williams from the defensive tackle for Alabama. He ran a 4.82 at 330 pounds, and he can move. So I think Williams would be the best pick, either that or Bosa from Ohio State. His combine was awesome. So those are the two people that I would think.
And we're back with some more on the NFL draft. I'm Luca Yanuzzi here with Jason Pohl, and we'll be discussing some of the top players in this draft and what teams they could potentially be going to. Before we get into things, we interviewed a few students and staff around Wayne Hills on their thoughts about which teams are going to be drafting these key players.
I think that Marquise Brown will go actually to the Steelers, the team that I like, because as everyone knows, Antonio Brown just got traded, and I think that we'll pick Marquise Brown up, and it'll be a good pickup.
Well, I'd like to think that Nick Bosa would go to the Giants at 6, but I know he's not going to last that long. We could really use it. I think he's probably going to go to Arizona 1, or if he doesn't go to Arizona 1, I know he'll definitely go 2. It's the year of the defensive lineman, so that's really the hot position this year.
I think DK Metcalf's going to be on the Falcons because they already have Julio Jones, they have Calvin Ridley, and if they get DK Metcalf, I think that would be like another explosive wide receiver. So I think that'd be a good fit for him.
I think Daniel Jones would be a good fit with the Patriots, the Steelers, or the Packers. All these three teams have great quarterbacks right now, but they're getting to the later parts in their careers, so he could be a bridge guy who would be able to learn from them and work on his skills and then take over those franchises in a few years.
And we're back, so let's get right into these players. So the first player we have is DK Metcalf. Can we please see the DK Metcalf graphic? So DK Metcalf played 21 games this season with 67 receptions, 1,228 receiving yards, 14 touchdowns, standing at 6'4", 230 pounds from Ole Miss. So he could potentially be going to a lot of teams in this draft. Jason, where do you think he could be going this?
Well, Luca, I think he'll go to Jacksonville. I can see him going there. Green Bay, Baltimore, the Buffalo Bills. I think he'll be a good fit with those teams. And also, I might think he might go to the Giants because the Giants need a wide receiver. Because since they got Golden Tate, I don't think he'll be a really good player. So I think with DK Metcalf, I think he'll be a good fit for the Giants.
Yeah, again, with the Redskins as well. Redskins can definitely take him. Redskins are 15. Giants with their second pick would be 17, so they could potentially snag him before because they need a wide receiver just as much as us. And with these other teams as well, like the Jags and Green Bay and with the Bills, they also need wide receivers, so he'll definitely be a great fit there. He's projected not to go as soon as them, more likely to go around 15 or 17 with the Skins or Giants, but definitely he's definitely capable of playing for those teams and getting an upper pick. So our next person we're going over is Drew Lock. Can we pull up the Drew Lock graphic, please? So Drew Lock at Missouri played 50 games, had 883 completions, passed for 12,193 passing yards, and had 99 passing touchdowns in all 4 years he played at Missouri, standing at 6'4", 225 pounds. Had an incredible senior season. What team do you think he's going to be going to?
Well, I think he'll go to the Giants. With the 6th overall pick, I think the Giants need to pick up a quarterback just because, this might be Eli Manning's last year as a Giant. So I think he'll be a good franchise quarterback. And also I think Denver will also be a good fit for Drew Lock as well.
Yeah. Giants could either go from 6 or 17. Depends on what they go for because they have a lot of positions they need to fill up, as Aaron and Isaiah were saying. So I definitely like to see him with the Giants. Doesn't matter really when we pick him as long as he's with us. That'll be pretty great. Yeah. So next player is Marquise Brown. Can we please see the Marquise Brown graphic? So Marquise Brown in his 3 years at Oklahoma played 25 games, had 132 receptions, 2,413 receiving yards, and 17 receiving touchdowns,
standing at 5'10", 168 pounds. Also had a great most recent season for his junior year. What team do you think he'll be going to?
Well, I think Marquise Brown would be a good fit for the Steelers. I mean, since they got rid of Antonio Brown, he went to the Oakland Raiders. I mean, with the space there for him, I think he'll play well with Ben Roethlisberger and Juju Smith-Schuster. So I think that would be a perfect fit for him.
I'd say he definitely fit great there as well. He could also go to the Redskins instead of potentially DK Metcalf. All right, next player we have is Daniel Jones. Can we please see the Daniel Jones graphic? So Daniel Jones, a junior at Duke, played 36 games, 764 completions, 8,201 passing yards, 52 passing touchdowns, standing at 6'5", 220 pounds. Not the fastest, but definitely has a great passing game. What team do you think will be the best fit for him?
Well, I think Daniel Jones would be a good fit for the Miami Dolphins. You know, I think they need a quarterback. So, I mean, I think he'll be a really good fit for the Dolphins.
Yeah, most mock drafts have him going to either Miami or potentially to the Carolina Panthers even. But again, he can also go to other teams like the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants as well. So Devin White is our next player. Can we please see the Devin White graphic? So Devin White at LSU played 34 games, had 286 tackles, 8.5 sacks, 28.5 total yards lost, and 4 forced fumbles in his 3 years at LSU. So what team do you think would be the best fit for him?
Well, personally, I think Devin White would be good for the Giants. You know, the Giants need to work on their defensive line this year. Like, it'll be like a rebuilding season. So I think Devin White will be a perfect place. Like, he'll be perfect for the Giants, I think.
Definitely, he could do really good with the Giants, especially if they need to bump up their defense. Denver and also Cincinnati as well need a good bump as well. So let's get into our next player, Nick Bosa. Can we please see the Nick Bosa graphic? So Nick Bosa at Ohio State in his last 3 years played 29 games, had 77 tackles, 17.5 sacks, 29 total loss of yards, and 2 forced fumbles. So Aaron and Isaiah talked about him earlier and say he's going early in the draft. What team do you think he could be going to?
Well, I mean, my prediction, I think Nick Bosa is going to go to the Cardinals, you know, with the first overall pick. I think he'll be a good fit there because the Arizona Cardinals need to work on, you know, the offensive defensive team. So I think he'll be a good fit for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I say, if anything, he's definitely going to be a top 3 pick in this draft. Let's move on to our last player, Josh Allen. Can you see the Josh Allen graphic? So at Kentucky, in his 4 years, he played 42 games, had 220 tackles, 31.5 sacks, 42 total yards lost, 11 forced fumbles. This guy is a monster. Where do you see him going to?
Well, I think Josh Allen might be going to the Giants or the Jets, you know, because both teams need to work on their defensive team. So I think either team would be happy to pick him up.
Yeah, I'd definitely love to see him go to the Giants. And he could potentially go as early as the Jets or maybe even go to Tampa, but to the Bills as well. Anyways, that's all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to the NFL pre-draft show. Hopefully you got to know some more background info for Thursday when you get to see where everyone goes in this NFL draft.